Hello, good afternoon, welcome to this update. So, we'll check the severe weather in the U.S. and Canada. So first, in the U.S., the main threat is potential tropical cyclone 8. There is off the coast of South Carolina. It's just forecast to remain a non-tropical depression when it makes landfall, but there's a big area of tropical storm force winds already around it, so they might try to designate this as a storm or not, because they haven't done so yet, because it's kind of disorganized, but we'll see. But regardless, there'll still be a lot of rain, flash flooding, and a lot of strong winds. So let's see. Tropical storm conditions are expected along parts of the coasts, South Carolina, North Carolina, within the tropical storm warning area during the next several hours. Local considerable flash and urban flooding and minor river flooding is possible across the southeast and North Carolina, northeast South Carolina through tonight. There's also risk of isolated flash and urban flooding much of the mid-Atlantic through Wednesday. Coastal flooding and high surf are likely in parts of the southeastern U.S. coast through this afternoon, and some rip current dangers too. So be careful there. And the rainfall expectations are like now 8 to 12 inches in parts of North Carolina, some 4 to 8 inches in parts of South Carolina. So be careful there. Be aware. And here are the key messages in Spanish in case you need. And the tropical storm force wind probabilities are at like 90-100% there, because it's already strong and the wind field. So be aware, but the 58-mile-per-hour wind probability is nothing, and hurricane, of course, nothing, because it's very weak. But be aware there, the tropical storm force winds. So let's see here. There's also a moderate risk of flash flooding in those areas, in parts of northeastern South Carolina, southeastern North Carolina, so be careful there with flooding. Don't drive through flooded roads and stay safe. And storm surge, there might be like 1 to 3 feet near the Outer Banks, so some parts of South Carolina there, North Carolina, so be aware. And the arrival time of the wind, it's practically there already, the tropical storm force wind, so it's already happening. So be careful there. So this is the GFS, it takes it there and then leaves more rain some of those areas as the remnant, especially throughout the mid-Atlantic. The European has also this there, so the Europeans is like 1004 millibars. The GFS was 1006, so they might designate this still as a tropical storm. So then it goes there to North and South Carolina and dissipates and leaves more heavy rain. So be aware there. Let's see. There's also some hurricane models. It's already very close there to the coast, but it's practically tropical storm strength already, but it's not organized. So be aware there. And there's another one here. Let's see, it takes this there, a lot of heavy rain, but still kind of disorganized, but heavy rain, and those storms, potential waterspouts and tornadoes. And in fact, we have there the slight risk for this, and 5% tornado threat there in North Carolina, and 2% all the way down to South Carolina. So be careful there with the rain bands, might be some tornadoes. So let's see. The threat of few tornadoes will continue this afternoon and evening across eastern North Carolina and vicinity. So be aware there. And NATOcast actually has like a 15% tornado probability there. And it also has a 2% in the north there, in the plains into Canada. But they have some different models. They're up to 15%. And an earlier run from today had only like 10% there for tornadoes. So be aware there. There's the possibility for many waterspouts and some supercells associated with this system. So be careful there. And let's see, just like you can see on the model, those rain bands, those storms, might be some supercells and water spouts, so be careful there. And in terms of like the rainfall, shows like all the way to 6-7 inches there in North Carolina. This just today, day one, so there might be a lot of flooding there. Be careful. Tomorrow, still some more in the mid-Atlantic, North South Carolina there, no especially like Virginia, so be aware. Day 3 for Wednesday, still some rain there as this system goes away along the coast, and by Friday, still some rain there. So be aware. The excessive rainfall is a moderate there, and the slight from Virginia to South Carolina, the slight, so be careful there, flash flooding, marginal, and we'll talk about those other areas in a second. For tomorrow, still a marginal there, as this continues tracking there. For Tuesday, Wednesday, still a marginal along the East Coast, and Thursday, still nothing. So be aware there. And let's just show you some other models to see if they have this different, because the Europeans like showing, let's see this in inches, still showing like 1 inch, so these models aren't very excited with the rainfall, but it does show like more close to 3 inches like in other areas of North Carolina there. But let's see, for example, the GFS has in North Carolina up to 3 inches, in South North Carolina almost to 4 inches. And let's see the HER, if it has, it's more like high resolution. So indeed, it shows you like until Wednesday, some portion of North Carolina, all the way to 9 inches, 7-9 inches, and let's see some 7 inches, 6 inches, so be careful there. Might be flooding from this, and all the way down to like northern South Carolina there, close to 7 inches, and the HER also has in Virginia like 7 inches, 8 inches, so stay safe there. Be careful. And let's see now for the other areas, the severe weather. Also a slight risk for Monday, today, parts of Minnesota and North Dakota, and a marginal there as well. Another marginal from Oregon to New Mexico. So tornado threat 2% in the north there as well. Be aware, Minnesota, North Dakota. Wind threat of 15% and 5% there in the northern plains, so be aware of gusty winds with those storms, and 5% there in the southwest. Hail 15% there too, and 5% in the southwest, so be aware there. So thunderstorms keep producing severe gusts and large hail should occur today over parts of the northern plains. Isolated severe wind and hail also appears possible in parts of the Great Basin, Four Corners, so be aware there. Let's see. For tomorrow, there are 2 slight risks tomorrow. So one in Colorado, parts of Nebraska, South Dakota, and Wyoming. Another one in Montana, North Dakota, as this big system tracks north there. And a marginal from New Mexico to Montana. So tornado threat 2% tomorrow in Montana and North Dakota. Wind 15% in both slight risks, and 5% there in the marginal. Hail 15% in Montana, North Dakota, and 5% in New Mexico and Colorado too. So be careful tomorrow. Isolated scattered severe thunderstorms with some severe wind gusts and hail possible Tuesday across large swaths of the High Plains region, mainly from late afternoon into the evening. Greater concentration of severe storms may occur in central High Plains and eastern Montana. So be careful there. Tomorrow, Tuesday. Wednesday, just general risk of storms in the southeast, in the central areas, and also in the west. So be aware there. Day 4 through 8, nothing, and fire is elevated in parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, and Nebraska, and in Nevada and Arizona too. So be aware. Some gusty winds and some drier fire conditions there. And then let's see, tomorrow still an elevated in Nebraska and Colorado, South Dakota. So be careful there. And let's see, the other rainfall areas shows a slight risk of flash flooding across Minnesota and North Dakota, and a marginal in the Gulf as well, and a marginal in the southwest from California to New Mexico. Be aware, tomorrow 2 marginals in New Mexico and Colorado, marginal in Florida, still in Alabama, and a marginal in Idaho and Montana. For Tuesday. For Wednesday, a slight in Montana, that big system goes north there, and a marginal around it. For Thursday, still nothing. For Friday, still nothing. So be aware there. Let's see, precipitation in the other area shows a lot in Minnesota today, North Dakota, and a lot there, parts of Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada and Oregon, even northeastern California. Tomorrow still shows there from potential cyclone 8 and more in Montana and Wyoming across the west. For Wednesday, more in Montana, shows a lot there going to Canada. For Thursday, shows some more in the plains there and on the west. For Friday, that severe weather starts building there as that cold front comes. For Saturday, and especially in Nebraska, there's some higher totals. And for Sunday, still more rain there in the plains, some storms, and some in the northwest and the southeast there. Day 7 next Monday, more across the southeast, the plains, and some other areas. Day 1 through 7 shows a lot there from the cyclone 8. Southern Florida shows a lot as well. And the Bahamas shows a lot in the plains there from those systems, and Montana especially a lot. So be aware there. Colorado, some other areas as well. And this is mainly it. Let's see. Snowfall shows some slight probabilities today in California and Nevada there. And for Tuesday, tomorrow, shows there's some higher accumulation probabilities of snow, Wyoming and Montana there, especially in northern Utah and Wyoming. So be aware. This is, I think, Wednesday. There's Tuesday, tomorrow in California and Nevada. And there's Thursday still in California, Wyoming and Montana there. So be aware. And let's see. Yes, mainly it. And in terms of the significant tornado parameters for that system, North Carolina shows there already off the coast some parameters, and they kind of dissipate later, but still some parameters, especially North Carolina coast there. So be aware, some slight parameters in North Dakota there as well. So be aware there. And let's see here some updraft helicity for those storms in the plains there, and also on the east coast. Shows more tracks in Montana, parts of Idaho, but like light storms, but it really shows like those severe storms in North Dakota, into Manitoba and Ontario, picking up a lot in Ontario there, and starting Manitoba. So be aware. And across the southwest, nothing crazy, just some tracks there, and those tracks in North Carolina there for those storms coming off the ocean with that system with some potential water spouts. So be careful there. And let's see. In the mixed layer cape, like the energy shows more energy in the plains, like the North Dakota, South Dakota, some areas there, especially North Dakota this afternoon, and Minnesota shows some more energy for those storms there, especially North Dakota. So if you are there, stay weather aware in North Dakota and to Minnesota today. So let's now see first the severe storms for Canada, then we'll check some long-range forecast there. So there's also that severe thunderstorm watch in Ontario there. Let's see here. They have some like tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watch. So if we click on the tornado watch, they say conditions for developing severe thunderstorms which may produce tornadoes, strong winds and heavy rain. Possible tornado or two, up to 20 size hail, and some very heavy downpours this afternoon and this evening. An area of thunderstorms over Minnesota will move into northwestern Ontario this afternoon and evening. So please be careful. I showed you there like the helicity tracks and everything shows the potential for some very severe storms. There's the severe thunderstorm watch as well. Some gusts up to 90 kilometers per hour, torrential downpours, and nickel-sized hail this afternoon and evening in those areas there of north western Ontario, like southwestern Ontario, northwestern Ontario there. So please be aware there. So we can take a look at this here on the HER for all the areas. So let's see. So first we have those storms there in the southeast with that cyclone shows a lot of heavy rain. Those trailing storms might produce some tornadoes, North Carolina. So it continues into tomorrow, the line of storms and heavy rain from that system. More tomorrow in Virginia, some heavy rain in Virginia there. Then shows this afternoon storms in Florida, especially tomorrow there in the Bahamas and in Florida shows a lot. And on the southwest today, it shows some storms in the plains, some showers. Shows all those heavy rain, that heavy rain in Nevada there, and some snow in the mix. So let's see the storms in New Mexico, Colorado today, those bigger storms, and in Idaho, Montana, some stronger storms too. But then we have that there in the northern plains, we already have some showers there in North Dakota, and then they keep going. Those severe storms start forming later today in North Dakota, showing moving very strong into Manitoba there. And then northwestern Minnesota, especially some severe storms, and they move into Ontario. There are some very strong storms, some damaging winds, tornadoes, and maybe some hail, and some heavy rain, especially because that line of storms there could have some very heavy rain. And they continue in North Dakota there into the night, maybe still in Minnesota tomorrow morning, and still a storm or two in Ontario tomorrow morning there. So stay safe there. Let's see, tomorrow again, the 17th, shows more there in the southwest, still a lot of moisture around Oregon, parts of Idaho. But then tomorrow afternoon, we start getting those stronger storms there in the high plains, especially Colorado, Wyoming, some heavy rain and stronger storms. So be aware. Into Montana starts building into Montana there. So be careful. Tomorrow, still those storms there, and then still showing stuff in Ontario tomorrow there, maybe in Saskatchewan. So be careful there. And now let's see maybe some other forecast. The temperature shows like some 90s today in Texas there, in Florida too some 90s, and some 90s in the southwest too, and colder there in the mountains in Nevada too, in California. And I won't show you like the minimum temperatures today because it's almost afternoon, so the minimum temperatures will have passed. But tomorrow morning, the minimum temperatures for Monday shows colder there across the high plains and the west, especially in the mountains in Colorado. Could get very chilly into the 20s Fahrenheit, like low 30s probably. Northern Utah could get into the 20s, so be aware there, the cold in the night and morning. And then the maximum temperatures tomorrow shows like more 90s in Texas, some 90s in the plains as well, on the southeast and other areas. And then let's see, day 3 shows like more 90s there, in the southern plains in Florida, in Arizona too, and still cold there in the northwest. In the minimum temperatures, day 3 still shows pretty cold in those mountains there, some 30s Fahrenheit in those areas. Day 4 still some 90s there in the plains and on the southeast for Wednesday, for Thursday, and for Friday shows still some 90s there, especially in the plains. Some 80s in the Midwest, the lower Midwest, and some 90s there in Florida, the southwest. Still a little bit colder in the mountains. For Saturday shows more 90s there, all the way to 100 in southernmost California. Some 80s there in the Midwest, 90s in the south, so be aware. And day 7 still kind of chilly there, and more 100s in the southwest, some 90s there in the south, so be aware. And now, a very important thing, the max wind gusts for those for the storm today, we have this tropical storm force winds there, and it shows some gusts there like 50, 55 to almost 60 miles per hour gusts there across North Carolina near South Carolina, so be careful there. Across Utah and Arizona will be very gusty, potentially around 55 mile per hour gusts in those areas or higher. Southern California too in the mountains, shows the mountains up to 60 miles per hour gusts. In the plains too, very gusty, so be aware there. And let's see, we still have the wind advisories there, winter weather advisories, a small wind warning Wyoming, and wait, we have the tropical storm warnings there in North and South Carolina, the wind advisories there too, and the flood watches in North Carolina, heat advisories in southern Florida there, so be aware. And let's see if there will be any storms. So nothing else big there in Canada. Let's see maybe some other models here for like Western Canada. So here shows still some rain in Western Canada there, some snow showers in the mountains there. Then Tuesday, tomorrow, more rain, British Columbia there. Then we'll start getting that storm system there. So in Alberta, Saskatchewan splashes, some very heavy rain with that storm, and then it keeps going. So this is like Wednesday, so the main day is Wednesday there, Alberta and Saskatchewan, and then it goes there and goes away, but still might have some snow and some rain there by Thursday and Friday in Alberta and British Columbia, and a new system potentially by Saturday there in British Columbia. And the Europeans really kicking up that snow there in northern British Columbia, and some heavy rain on the coast there Saturday into Sunday, so we better watch this. And let's see, Central Canada, we have there those storms today in Ontario and Manitoba, those areas. Then Tuesday still shows some storms in Ontario, and then we start getting on Wednesday there the system in Saskatchewan and Alberta, so very heavy rain, and it continues there. And then maybe like Saturday, some rain in Ontario there. Then we might have some bigger systems by next Monday, so we'll keep watching this. In Eastern Canada shows us some storms, maybe some showers in Quebec today, into Labrador and Newfoundland tonight and tomorrow. And then tomorrow shows still a shower or two in Quebec, some storms in Ontario. Then we like tomorrow and to Wednesday shows more storms in Ontario there, and a bigger rain system in Quebec there into Newfoundland. And then let's see, that system there on Wednesday is off the map, but it does show some storms there near Manitoba and Ontario that pulls north, and then potentially that system down there in the plains, maybe some severe weather next weekend. So let's see, like central US shows like next Saturday the 22nd, a lot of storms there, some heavy rain too, so be aware. And then North America here, and let's see precipitation total. So show some very high amounts there in Montana, into Alberta and Saskatchewan, and in the coast there in Alaska, British Columbia, and many areas. Also shows some high amounts there in potential tropical cyclone 8, and there in the north in Minnesota into North Dakota, some high amounts as well into Ontario and Manitoba. So we'll keep watching there, and let's see it here better because that site was weird. So here, next 5 days or so shows a lot there, so potentially shows like some 5 inches in Montana, close to 5 inches in Alberta and Saskatchewan too, a lot in Minnesota, and we will have that trail of rain throughout central Quebec there into Newfoundland and those areas. And it really showing a lot in New Jersey there, close to 4 inches, and Maryland, that's Pennsylvania, from the remnants of potential tropical cyclone 8 into New York too, some 4 inches, so be aware there. And let's see here. So in terms of temperatures in Canada. It's still mild there, some 27 degrees, 26 degrees there. And then a little bit colder at night, especially in the northwestern Canada there. It was like -1, it's very cold at night there. Into northern Alaska, -2, -3. And then a day or two it might be better, but it'll generally be very cold during the night in those areas. Especially this is Friday the 20th, so like very cold there across northwest there. So be careful. And let's see, across British Columbia too, at night in the mountains especially, and during the day it will warm up, but still like cold during the day there. And still Manitoba and Ontario warmer there, like 27, 26, southern Quebec and New Brunswick too, and Nova Scotia. So be aware, and colder northern Quebec there, so be aware. And let's see here. So maybe some more wind gusts from the European. It shows those very high winds there in Nevada, Utah, and in Arizona, potentially close to 60 miles per hour gusts there. So be careful. Tomorrow, very high in Wyoming, into the high plains in Colorado, potentially close to 60 or more mile per hour gusts. And Thursday there, and Wednesday, especially Wednesday, that's eastern Montana, Wyoming still, North Dakota there, and Alberta, some very strong winds. Then this tracks north, still some strong winds in southern Alberta. Then this keeps going, maybe some gusty winds in other areas there. But let's see, next week we might have some gusty winds near the plains with those storms there. So be aware. And let's see here if I find something. If not, this is it. So maybe some models, the European. Here, let's see, like 0Z shows the temperature. So here, so this like the heat indices, and the wind chill shows all the way to 100 heat indices in southern Florida there. So although the temperature is in the 90s, but with the humidity and everything, it might be some very high heat indices there, so be careful. Close to 98 heat indices in southern Texas as well. So be aware today, and this might continue like into tomorrow there, but it might come down there, get close to 102 heat indices in Texas and Oklahoma. So let's see this like in the afternoon. Let's maybe see in the morning here for the northwestern US in the mountains there. So shows like this is Friday. Let's go back a day. Wednesday shows very cold there in the mountains of Wyoming, like 29, and some higher peaks could get all the way down to like the low 20s. And let's see here, maybe the southwestern US for California. So it shows like, let's see, today or tomorrow, for example, cold there, especially in the mountains. The southwest is still hot, but cold in the mountains there. So especially during the night and early morning, some 20s there. So be careful. This is mainly it. Stay safe.